All right. Is Carson ready? Yeah, I'll do it once. All right. Hey, Isaac.
What's up?
How's it going?
Excellent.
Yeah. Carson's doing good. How about you guys? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Actually. All right, okay. So who here was at the OERC conference?
Woo!
I know some of you guys. Who was here last year when I was here for the election? Mike was there. And that's it, right? Okay. So some of you guys already know me, some of you guys don't. So I'll just go into a quick introduction of who I am and why the hell am I here. So my name is Peck. Peck are actually my initials. They're not my real full name. My real full name is that long, and it's in French. Nobody can say it. So everybody calls me by my initials, which are Peck. My real full name is Pierre-Étienne Coulon. You don't need to remember that. You never need to call me that either. Peck is perfectly fine. Actually, when I started working after Isaac, I had to kind of go through a name switch. I'm still kind of feeling the vibe, like the negative vibe of this. Like it's not quite real when people call me by my real name because I've been so used to Isaac people calling me Peck. So just go with Peck. That's fine. So why am I here? So I was actually here last year to chair the elections when Carson got reelected into his second term. And Carson's asked me to come back here, and I was just telling the candidates it's either because I did a good job last year or because he doesn't know a lot of people and he just invited me again. So we'll go with the first one. All right. So I'm an Isacer. I'm an alumnus of the organization. I was involved at multiple levels for about 5 years. I joined in September 2006 as a member at Isaac Laval in Quebec City. Brand new member, like most of you guys, discovering what this organization was all about, getting scared with dances and all these weird things that we do. But I guess it kind of worked out because I stuck for a couple more years, so it worked out. I joined the corporate relations portfolio, started going on sales call, trying to raise internships in the city for people to come. It worked out okay at first, but not so well. But I still decided to do a little bit more, so I applied to be VP. So I was VP at my local chapter. It worked out all right. Decided to apply to be president. So I went through this process at my home LC a couple years after I joined, and got actually elected. I was running against another person in my local committee, so it was definitely a great experience to go through. And then I guess I should mention that that's where I met my girlfriend, Ivana, who's sitting right there. She was actually part of my executive board, so try to keep my executive board close to me. I guess it worked out because she's still here. So I was president of the local chapter for a full year. That was back in 2009, and then I thought I was done when I started my mandate. I was like, this is going to be like the top thing that I'll do in Isaac. It's just like a lot of commitment, big involvement. But at the end of the year, I didn't feel like I had done everything that I could do with the organization, so I applied to be part of the national team. Who here knows what the national team is? Just raise your hand. Yeah? Some of you guys don't. So the national team actually is an organization, like it's 7 people now. It used to be 6 people when I was a part of it. And what we did is that we supervised the operations of Isaac Canada across the whole country for a full year. So it's like a paid job. It's a 1-year mandate, and you just do Isaac full time, which is what we do at the university as well, but there's other stuff around. But now it was full time for real. So that was my last role in Isaac. The last thing that I did after I was done with that is that I went to International Congress. I actually saw that. Was that in Russia, Carson?
The past one, that was CEC, I think 4 years ago.
Oh, was it 4 years ago?
Yeah, that's an older CEC.
Oh, okay. So that was an older conference, like conference of like 4 or 5 years ago. I was at the conference similar to that one, an international one in Kenya. That was my last involvement as an official member of the organization. I was helping with the organization of the conference itself. It was a tremendous experience to be in Kenya for 6 weeks. I was working with a team of 50 people from 23 countries to help to organize a conference that brings in 600 people from 110 countries for 10 days. So great challenge, great experience. Then I came back to Canada to actually start my career after spending 5 years within Isaac. So what I do now, I work for Procter & Gamble. So P&G is a partner of Isaac. I was a little bit, overseeing the partnership when I was a part of the national team. I got to know a couple people. I worked at P&G, and they want to recruit Isaacers. So I said, I'm an Isacer. I've done 5 years in the organization. I think I'm a good fit, and they thought I was a good fit. So I've been working there for a year now. And here I am back after last year when I got the opportunity to chair the selection to come back and present myself like it's the first time all over again. So that's me. But tonight it's not about me at all. Actually, it doesn't really matter who's standing here and telling you all these things, because it's really not about me. It's about the two LCP candidates that we have that are putting themselves on the line and presenting, opening themselves up to get elected to be president of this organization. So I said that I went through the process myself when I was applying to be president. I can guarantee you guys that day that I was applying to be president, I'm sure Carson will share that with me as well, was probably one of the most intense days that I've ever been through in my life. It's a huge thrill, you get ready for it for numbers of weeks, and then you probably don't sleep the night before just because you're really stressed out, and you're really like putting yourself on the line to do something for a full year that you're really passionate about. So this is an extremely important process. It's actually really cool that the two people are running, because we'll have a kind of a choice to make at the end of this whole session. And I think it's a fairly important process. We've been through it every single year that Isaac Laurier has been in LC, but then within the other LCs in the country as well. It's the same process that everybody goes through. So it's fairly official. We have a few procedures to go through in order to make it official, but I'm sure you guys will love it. So I'm just quickly going to go through the agenda for the evening, which is on the next slide. Here we go. All right, so intro, that's done. And then I'll outline the process, so exactly what's going to happen, speeches, questions, voting, and all of that. And then we're going to have voting and the official announcement at the end. All right. If you guys have any questions while we're going through this, now's the time to ask it, because when we get the candidates in and they start doing their speeches, it's not going to be really time to start asking questions. We'll just get going with it. So I'm just going to go through the outline, and then we'll just clear every question that you guys have, and then we'll just get going. All right. Okay. So process. This is what it looks like. All right, so we'll have, first of all, individual speeches. So we've already done a coin toss with two candidates as to who would be going first. Michael's actually going to go first, and Salman's going to go second. They will have a 10-minute speech that they will be doing here in front, and then one after the other. So the other candidate's not in the room as the first one does it, just not to give like an unfair advantage to the second one who goes. So we'll bring them in one after the other. So 10 minutes each. So that should take us, with transition, with cheering them as they come in, about 20 minutes to half an hour. And then we'll get them both out of here, and then we'll go through questions and answers. So we'll just set the process of what questions are we going to ask in what order, and then we'll bring them back in together, and then we'll ask them questions for about an hour. We'll talk a little bit more about Q&A when we go there, when we get the candidates out. But really briefly, how it's going to look like. We're going to take a list of the questions that we're going to have to go in order, and then we'll allocate about 5 minutes to each question. Both candidates will have 1 minute at the beginning to think about their answer, and then one after the other, they'll have 2 minutes to answer the question. And we'll be really rigid with the time. That's just not to give any unfair advantage to the other one. So again, we'll go through this right before Q&A. After we're done with that, we'll get them both out of here, and then we'll get on with voting. You guys will have a little bit of time to think if you still need to, and maybe to discuss it a little bit as well, and then we'll just proceed with the voting. And then we have the official announcement, which is probably the most official part of the whole process, because we have like a weird song that we sing, pour water on people. We'll go through that, but that's the exciting part. There's going to be a lot of tension. Both candidates are going to be stressed out like crazy, but that's going to be the last part. All right. Any questions on the process so far? Make sense? Pretty straightforward. You guys' job is to sit back, to listen, to actively listen, to think about the questions that you want to ask. The candidates, they've submitted your applications, which you have all read, hopefully. So they'll be talking a little bit more about their vision for the LC for the coming year. But then anything that you feel wasn't answered in your speech or in the application, or anything that you want to clarify, we'll go through in Q&A. Because we're not too big of a crowd, we'll probably everybody will get a chance to ask a question or almost. So start thinking about it right now, because you will have your word to say in that as well. Cool. All right, so we're ready for our first speech. Yeah? Woo! Okay, so actually, just before we go there, I will need 2 volunteers. And actually, let's do it this way. Everybody stand up. All right, if you've been in the organization for, I don't know, let's say like for more than 3 years, sit down. 3 years. If you've been with Isaac for more than 3 years, just sit down. Okay, 2 years. If you've been with the organization for more than 2 years, take a seat.
No?
No? He's done 2 LCP minutes. Okay, whatever. Okay, 1 year. 1 year. If you've been would Isaac for more than a year, sit down. Yeah, for sure. For more than a year.
October 31st, 2010.
There we go. Okay. Let's not be picky with dates. Okay, so 6 months. Who's been with the organization for more? If you've been with the organization for more than 6 months, take a seat. All right. 3 months. 3 months. Okay, so we're down to 3 people. 3 months. When did you join?
Just
This month. Okay. How about you? Before she did? Okay, and you just joined as well. All right, so you will be my 2 volunteers. It's nothing complicated at all. I need one timekeeper, and I need a candidate's buddy. So, any of you guys have a phone that you can use the time? Yeah. Okay, so you're going to be my timekeeper, and you're going to be the candidate's buddy. Cool. So how it's going to work for you? So they're both going to get 10 minutes. They were already informed that they'll get some specific signals at any given time. So they want to get. So they both agreed that they wanted to get a signal at 9 minutes. So after 1 minute's gone, just to check their pace, you just want to get like a 1 minute check, and then 5 minutes. Okay, so when there's 5 minutes left, and then 1 minute left. And then when there's 15 seconds left, you just go like this, and then you just go down for 15 seconds, and you try to kind of scale your arm to the rate of your fall, which is pretty tough, because usually you just go like this, there's 5 seconds, and you just go really quick. But you know, they're informed that when you're going to start going like this, there's 15 seconds left, and you should wrap up. So you're sitting in front, I'll tell them that you're the person to check for time, and then you'll be my timekeeper for the speeches and for the questions as well. Cool? Congratulations. All right, and for my buddy person, so both of them are sitting on the couch area over there. So we're gonna have to bring them in and out. So you're gonna be the person doing that. So you'll be the one person that they'll be looking to, to see to get back in the room, to get out. So the first thing we'll do is that we'll get you to go and get Michael and bring him in. And once Michael is done, then you'll escort him back out, and then you'll bring Salman back in, and then you'll bring Salman back in. Cool.
Vivian.
Vivian. So Vivian, and your name is?
Chantal.
Chantal. It's Vivian and Chantal.
Thanks, Vivian.
Thanks guys. Thanks guys for volunteering. You're part of a great process. Okay. Okay, so Vivian's gonna go and get Michael. Now they're super stressed right now. They're excited, they're thrilled, but there's a lot of pressure on them. So when they come in, let's make sure that we show them how much support we have for them. All right, so I would like as yelling as loud as you can if the room allows it. Just cheering very loud and make them feel loved. Yes.
So when does the timer start?
I'll tell you to go, and then that's when you start the class, okay?
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, so you guys are ready to make a lot of noise when you come in? All right. Do you have like a song that we can put in when you come in, just to kind of...
Like stand up. I say something outside when Michael's talking.
No, you can come back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you'll go get Michael, you'll come back in with him, and then you can take a seat just at the front, and then when he's done, you go back out, and then you bring Salman back in, and then you come back in, so you can listen. Yeah. You're not excluded.
Okay, so I go get Michael.
Are we ready for the song?
Yeah, just 1 sec.
All right, so we'll go get Michael. As soon as he walks through this door, I'm expecting you guys to be as wild as you've ever been. All right? Okay, let's try it. Michael comes in. Woo! Come on! Louder than that. I didn't make it louder. Okay, so Carson has a loud meter right now. So let's try it again. Oh, really? Michael!
Guys, you can feel free to come down.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit all the way in the back if you want? The BOA, you guys need to see the whole thing, but we can tighten up here. Yeah. All right, ready? Guys, we want to give them the biggest and loudest. Move up here. Yeah, move over to the
So Chantal right here will be your timekeeper. So she'll give you a note when there's 1 minute down, 5 minutes, 1 minute left, and then 15 seconds you'll go like this. All right? So when I say go, your 10 minutes will start, and the webcam's right around here, so if you stand right there, you're good. Cool. And it starts now.
All right. Hey, Isaac. So, it's great to be here. I thank you all for coming down for this event. So, as you know, I have been a very devoted Isaacer for almost 2 years now. And I stand here today to tell you all how I can lead our local committee in 2013 and bring it to new heights. So first, I just want to rewind back about a year ago. It was around this time last year where I was in this exact position right here. I was running for LCP. This is not my first time. And to be quite honest, not being elected was the best thing to happen to me. At that time, I was only in Isaac for 10 months. And while I did get a lot of exposure and knowledge and training within the organization, I still was not fully aware of the depths of our realities, both in Isaac Laurier and Isaac Canada. So I still had very little experience dealing and working with a team of my own. So I did lack some leadership experience at that time. And I thought at the time it was something I was ready for, but in reality, I was not. So, moving forward, 1 year later, what has changed? I finally have had the opportunity to lead a team by serving as the VP for Outgoing Exchange since January. And what came out of that? There has been a 50% increase in exchanges and an overall 90% matching rate. And not to mention the 12 lives that dramatically changed from their experiences abroad. And of course, a lot of those exchange participants returned to Canada and got super pumped with Isaac, some of them who are here with us today. And that is, the member retention through EPs is something I'm really proud of. And most importantly, a lot of the members in my team got the full Isaac experience this year by attending national and regional conferences, bringing in innovative ideas, motivating our EPs, and just motivating one another through their consistent enthusiasm. Due to my love for internationalism, as you all know, I am a global studies student, and due to my love for OGX, I finally did get the opportunity to do my own Isaac exchange this summer in Italy, and that exchange really opened my eyes to see what kind of impact we can make globally. It was a fulfilling, life-changing experience, and of course, I learned new ways of how Isaac works at another part of the world. My love for the organization grew even more from that, and that's what I want all of you to experience very soon. Because like the friends you make there, the skills you develop, they're things you cherish and keep forever. But the international experience in Isaac for me did not stop there. Since July, I have been working virtually on the national support team for Isaac Puerto Rico for the OGX portfolio, where I've been able to take what I've learned in our LC and in Isaac Canada to help another Isaac entity capitalize on their knowledge and success in OGX. It was a two-way street, as I learned of how their exchange management works as well. And they're all tools I do want to share with you in the next year. And this summer, I also had my first experience in an international conference where I attended Summer National Congress in the US. And I know geographically and culturally it may not be that international for us, but Isaac-wise, it was definitely a shock for me. The passion, the dedication, experience, and the knowledge that these Isaacers had blew me away. Between the US, Puerto Rico, and Italy, my global network has expanded significantly. The people I've met each provide valuable insight and resources to different spheres of Isaac and I would like you all to be part of this network. Now I'd like to discuss what I'd like for all of us to focus in the next year. The first is, of course, international development for our local committee. Naturally, as an OGXer, I am looking forward to increase our results in exchange, but more importantly, I want those results not to be represented in numbers, but represented by the positive impact made by those participants. I want to see representatives of Isaac Laurier, Laurier University, Canada, Isaac Canada, in every region of the world to increase our global presence. This isn't something I view only in the OGX side. This year, aside from having 50 delegates at national regional conferences in Canada, there was also a total of 7 delegates from Isaac Laurier president conferences in the US, Chile, Costa Rica, Germany, and India. We had 2 VPs represent us as an ambassador for Isaac Canada in India and China. And I want to see more of our members putting their leadership skills into practice in exchanges, international conferences, and seeds. Second focus is extending our engagement with Isaac in our marketing, promoting, and branding of Isaac. We have been successful thus far spreading the word on the LC at a university level, and I want us to take it to the next level. Through networking events and in the KW region, fostering the relationships we currently have with important resources such as Chamber of Commerce, Communitech. We can become very well known, not just to students, but to companies as well, and to the community. They can aid us in promoting our organization in order to increase sponsorships, partnerships, and of course our income and exchange. And I also want to extend that awareness of Isaac Laurier to our Brantford campus. Finally, I want to maximize all our members' experience in Isaac. Out of all the hundreds of clubs and organizations at Laurier, you chose Isaac. It's our duty to make sure that all the members are getting exactly what they looked for when they picked this organization, and so that they do not regret that they decided to go with Isaac. If they're being delivered and delivering the 6 Isaac values, that'll ultimately motivate them to do even greater things for our organization. At the beginning of the year, our executive body's vision was good to grand. Instead of good to great, we decided let's just skip the great and go for grand. Right now, we are definitely past being good. Are we grand? Not exactly. There have been hardships at times of the year, in terms of quality of some member and exchange experiences, but nobody comes out of a box as a born leader. We must experience highs and lows and learn from those experiences. I didn't experience that last year, and that is why I was not prepared to become LCP. I've now been there for the difficult times, and there's no denying that I too have had my share of mistakes. We all have. I mean, we're young, we're human, and we learn, and that's okay. We may not have hit grand quite just yet. We definitely reached great, and that's still something for us all to be very proud of because it shows we are heading in the right direction. And that's why I'm here today, vying to become the next LCP. I want there to keep the team dynamics strong and to make sure that each and every one of you are empowered. And each portfolio has weaknesses of their own, but if the teams work together instead of on their own, the sooner we can get rid of those weaknesses. Our time has come to get out there in the world and be welcomed, open arms to the global network. Our time has come to make Isaac the organization that students want to join, the organization for the region to work with. Our time has come where we not just invite externals to come and speak and deliver at sessions, but also where they are the ones asking us to speak out. Our time has come to sustain ourselves through increased retention of members and financial stability. Our time has come where our accomplishments stand out in Isaac Canada. Guys, our time has come. Thank you.
We're going to go and get the next candidate. All right, you need to be just as loud. So your timekeeper is Chantal right here, so she's going to give you a note after 1 minute, 5 minutes, 1 minute left, and then 15 seconds. And you can start as soon as I say go. All right. Ready?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So what I just said there was in Arabic. Not many of you may know that I was brought up in an Arab country, and I am sure that there's tons and tons of amount of diversity, not just in the global network that ISEC has, but within each and every single LC. But just by looking at the crowd, I can think of 7 or at least 8 different ethnicities. And I think that as ISECers, our next step as Isaac Laurier is to be able to appreciate the diversity of not just exchange participants that come in, and not just the exchange participants that go out to other countries, but also that the people that we interact with each and every single day, that we work so hard with, that we prioritize over our schools, right? Like, there's real value there that ISECers need to recognize. I'm going to be honest with you. I have not prepared a speech at all. Not a word. I didn't write down a single word before I came in here around 5:50. Reason being, I was academically committed. And that's another thing that we all should understand, that we're students, student-run organization, right? But that doesn't compromise our professional behavior. It does not compromise meeting expectations that we set, delivering on the promises we give, that they all have to be met. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is my experience when I first began at ISEC. I came into Laurier as a first year just last year in September, and it was my first time having a real experience outside the house, and I was in a double room at University Place, and over there I had a completely new experience. I had never been around such a crowd which was willing to interact so openly, was willing to actually try new things in such a drastic manner. Like, their spontaneous behavior was beyond anything I'd ever seen before. And at that point, after just a month, I told myself that now is the time for me to fully realize what the extents, the limits I can actually reach. That after university, there isn't really a time like that. And at that point, I started looking around for opportunities. And I stumbled onto ISEC, the website. I know, Loner, who's like looking up all websites for clubs, right? But I did. I looked up ISEC on the SPSS clubs, and I found ISEC, and it was the one that struck out to me the most. I emailed the recruiting person. Her name was Rachel Say. Unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to actually meet her. But she replied promptly. But I replied with a thank you and never got anything back. I thought maybe we could start up a chat or something. Maybe that would increase my chances of getting into ISEC. but I was very unaware at that point. Things quickly picked up from there. Became corporate relations member under Amy Vong, incredible mentors I've had in ISEC. It's not like only your VP is your mentor, it's almost everybody. And then I committed myself for a summer marketing position, which I think was, after a conference, I think it's the most engaging experience that an ISEC corporate relations member can have. That really taught me the vision. It wasn't just me creating a vision, it was about me being able to learn the vision of ISECers who've already come and gone. It was me being able to realize that the potential there is to realize. How much we can do and how much we already do. What do I think of an LCP? I always thought the LCP is the guy who knows how to do everything. He knows what should be done. He always has a great idea, always has the right answers. I've always found that Carson's always had all the answers. There's never a point that he says, oh, I don't know, but I'll get back to you on that. He's always just got the answers for some odd reason. And that ambiguity is very, very strange to me. But as I've progressed, I've learned that it's not about having all the answers. It's about being able to say that I don't know and being able to commit that yes, I will get it for you. That's another portion. After diversity, I think that's another portion that needs to be emphasized. That you commit. You have that will, no matter what happens. You could be knee deep into water, but you still say, no, I'm still going to walk forward. I'm not even going to look back. That commitment comes out of very few people, and that's what makes leaders. That's what makes LCPs. That's what makes ISEC what it is today. Because the possibilities of creating a global network in 112 countries, that's absolutely ridiculous. Imagine how they even started this. Imagine those 5-6 guys in Europe even thinking about creating a global network. I couldn't even begin to imagine such possibilities. So, another question that came to my mind was why isn't an LCP being able to do everything? I spoke to Jose just a little while back, and he opened my eyes to an interesting idea that an LCP is a person who realizes his limitations very quickly. Very quickly. He learns that he can't do everything. But that's why he's an LCP. He's not an ISECer or the ISECer. He's not the only one there. He has a team. He has people around him. He has great potential around him. He has leaders around him. And he learns to activate that leadership, as Isaac Valli said, activate leadership. I think that's so perfectly put. Being able to not just lead other people, but enable them to lead others. It's a ripple effect which has lasting impacts. Where do I see ISEC Laurier? I see, what I've heard about ISEC Laurier's past, I would say that ISEC Laurier currently is at this point where ISEC Laurier is fortunate to have great members. It's fortunate to have great leaders who are willing to commit. And it has been brought to this point where it has that potential to be one of the greatest LCs by 2015, by 2013. Never set low goals, always aim high. I got this interesting comment at one of the conferences that whenever you have a bow and arrow and you shoot that arrow, you never aim exactly at that point. You always aim above it, and that's when you actually land your point on the dead center. So yeah. As an LC, I think we've learned the true value of setting high goals for ourselves and actually realizing them. And I think that's very important to always be able to see the value in setting high goals. And obviously that comes with commitment, comes with contribution, comes with leadership. ISEC Laurier is a very, very big part of my life now. when I first began, I showed very little commitment. I was like, oh, cold calling, really? I gotta call like random people up and like talk about stuff that they want to hear about, or like what do they want to hear about Isaac Laurie? Why do they want to talk to a bunch of students? They're working in an organization. Like, what's it for them to care about? Like, I didn't see much, but it's incredible when you actually get out there and meet at those networking events. You see like how different Isaac is from what everything else people are doing, and once I was able to truly realize what the value is, I could truly commit myself. So if given this opportunity, whoever may get it, may the best person get it. I think my utmost personal goal would be to be able to pass that value on to people, to be able to fully realize what Isaac is, what it has to offer, and in turn, activating leadership. Thank you so much.
Can I get you to escort Salman back to the couches area and then come back?
Thanks,
we'll
everybody.
All right. All right. So we're done with the first part of the process, probably the most stressful part for them, but Q&A is just as important. So you guys have seen the speeches now. You've heard a little bit more about what their ideas for the LC is and are, and what what they're trying to bring to the LC as president. So now's the time for you guys to ask questions and try to really understand a little deeper some of the parts that you might not be 100% clear on right now. And also ask questions for you to actually have a clearer choice as to who you'd like to vote at the end of this. All right. So what we'll do is I'll just, if you guys have questions ready, I'll just take a list of 5 names for now, and this will be like the first 5 initial questions that we'll go with, and then once we're done with that, we'll see where we're at in time, and then we'll take maybe a second round of questions, so another fit list of another 5 people for some more questions to ask, and then we'll just monitor it as we go. Question?
When you ask the questions, you have to ask both of the same question?
Yes. Yes. So your question is good question. So we're actually, all the questions are targeted towards both candidates, and both candidates will answer the question with 2 minutes on the allocated time. To speak a little bit more to this, the question that you're asking them should be, as much as possible targeted towards what they would do as an LCP and how they would stand out as the best candidate. So this is not necessarily the time to ask them about, things that don't really matter. There are some questions that can throw them off. You don't want to know if they can spell all the states of the United States one after the other. These are the questions that kind of don't. You just get the point, right? So try to keep it as relevant to the discussion as possible. And Carson and I will be monitoring the questions. I'm sure that you guys will have really good questions, so that shouldn't be an issue. But we'll be monitoring the process as we go, and also try to ask questions that are different from one another. If your question was asked before, then just waive it, and then we'll just go on to the second one. We don't need to ask the same questions over and over. Yeah.
Will live stream people get one question?
Yes, we can take a live stream question. Sure.
And after that, can you also, when they ask the question, can you make sure you just reiterate so everyone can hear it?
Sure. Can I? Just a sec. Well, come back in, and I'll get you to come. So we're just going through the process, and then I'll get you to go get them again. Can I get you to read the question online?
Yeah.
Also, we'll get that question to be the 5th one. So we'll get 4 more, and then that one will be the 5th one. All right. Anybody has a question ready?
I have a question about the process. Who goes first?
Yeah. So since Michael went first in the speeches, Salman will answer the first question first, and then we'll just rotate and we'll just allocate. All right, and then so the second person answering that one question doesn't have more time to think. So they're expected to go right away. Their 2 minutes will start right away. Cool. All right, so who has a question ready? What's your name? A-N?
CGA.
Oh yeah, well, try to keep the questions in English as much as possible. Or in Arabic, or something. Anybody else? Yep.
Chansung.
Chansung. I'm gonna butcher your name, Chan.
Yes.
Chansung. Okay.
Anybody else? BOA?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your name? Joe. Still gonna refer to it as the BOA question, but.
It's just a John question.
Okay, awesome. Carson? All right. Anybody else? Yeah? Sorry? Yeah, so I have 5 now, and then we'll have the question online, and then we'll take the second round of speakers after for the questions, all right? So you guys can think about it a little bit more about what you'd like to ask. Cool? All right, so timer ready? Yeah. So for these questions, we don't need to do any signs for the 1 minute that they have to think. I'll just say go when they need to start answering, and then just the 15 seconds at the end of the 2 minutes is what they're going to be expected to see. It might be best if you actually come closer to the middle, yeah, so that's a little more obvious for them. Cool. Any other questions on the process? We're good. Okay. So I'm gonna get Vivian to go and get both candidates again. We can do like another round of cheering because it's fun, and then they'll sit in the front. Let's get the music on again. Song request? Anything crazy pop up? You're the best at this. I'm going jock champs. I don't know.
These shots. Eye of the Tiger?
Eye of the Tiger?
Yeah.
You have a lot of people online.
We have 30 people.
30? Yeah, 30
31
virtual
people online.
participants. Maybe more stress when we're sitting
31 people online?
31 people online.
Really? I'm all thanks to Go on. All right, guys, please welcome your candidates. All right, you guys take a seat. So Salman, you're going to answer the first question first. Since Michael went first for the speech, you will get 1 minute to think about your answer. At the end of the minute, I'll say, please go ahead, and then you start answering. You have 2 minutes. And then you have the same timekeeper. At 15 seconds, you'll get the sign, the clock that runs down. And once you're down, once you're out of time, I'll interrupt you, and then we'll go to the second one. Cool. So we have a list of a few questions to ask. So we'll get started. So first question is Ansha.
Okay, so what do you think is the #1 issue that our local committee is currently experiencing and hindering us from growing as an LC and going from good to great or grand? And what is the #1 thing you would implement to fix it?
1 minute to think, and then get some.
Can you repeat that question, please, for live stream?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just.
Okay, so we're asking about the one issue that hinders the LC and keeping them from going from grand to great, and then what's the one thing that they would do to address it? 1 minute starts now. All right, Salman, your answer?
I think the one thing that most hinders our LC is that our realization of that we are students. Our LC is full of committed individuals as well as individuals that find that ISIC is not such a big part of their life. When you have that imbalance of commitment, that causes motivation for certain members and also demotivation for the ones that are more committed, right? And that causes it just causes an imbalance, and that imbalance can lead to conflicts, it can lead to disagreements, which are not always so positive for the LC. I believe that like, as an LC, we need to work towards creating ISEC fun. Like, ISEC was made to be fun, right? There is work, there is goals you want to make, and there are things that you want to achieve, right? But all at the same time, it's a journey, and that journey is always supposed to be fun. So I think the most important thing for us as an LC to remember would be to have fun and work at the same time, obviously.
Thank you, Tom. Michael?
To me, the biggest issue would be between the portfolios. We don't work as closely together as we should. Even within VP to VP collaboration, there's been a lack of. And for that, whenever there is, an assignment or an event coming up or a session, because there are less people we're working with, we end up thinking on top of our mind and without like planning ahead. And because if something goes wrong, it does affect all portfolios. And for that, that's why I believe all portfolios should work more closely with one another. And I would like portfolios to be partnered up for different goals and tasks. Like for example, when it comes to sponsorships, that would be CR and finance together, OGX recruitment, OGX and comm, alumni would be like LC management, comm, TM, and that way there are more resources to work with, and it's easier for us all to plan ahead. And and on top of that, we all get to know the realities of each portfolios, and we're all in sync with what's going on.
Great. Thank you guys for your answers. So the second question comes from Jansu.
Okay. My question here is, many members don't know what what different portfolios are doing. How are you going to change that, and how is the culture of that whole concept going to change?
Do you need me to repeat this for online, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is for new members coming in, how are they going to get to know a little bit more about what the different portfolios do? What's your strategy to approach that? So Michael, you're going to go first. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it.
Would that only be concerning new members or any members, or even current members?
Everyone, just the whole LC as a whole.
Every member. All right, so 1 minute starts now. Michael?
Okay. So first, we'd have to find out what particular skills each portfolio has in common. For example, sales. We the members get the idea that that's only a CR thing, where in reality, sales is found in OGX when it comes to selling the exchange program to students. It's in part of comm when it comes to marketing our program to the university. It comes with finance for locating sponsors. It comes to selling us to the university, to student clubs. It's everywhere. And what I want to do is, hold like trainings for particular skills that we all need. That way, and in those trainings, we can use simulations where we practice within each portfolio like a scenario. That way, not only do we get educated on how each portfolio functions, but we can use those skills and you can use those adaptable skills and when something comes up, we can bring our skills that we normally use for OGX and take it into TM. And of course, bringing the members aware all events coming up that normally we would only pitch to CR or COM, such as networking events, or if there's info session coming up, invite finance. So, and of course keeping the Isaac culture alive, having socials where we all come together, and because Isaac socials, even though we have fun, in the end we always do end up talking about Isaac, so you can always learn then. And yeah.
Thank you. Salman?
I think Michael did make a good point about being able to hold session and being able to experience like the major component of what each portfolio does. But I think like there is like an opportunity for us to be able to apply this very strictly. Like I've thought about this question before, and I think one of the most appropriate ways of doing it would be something like a local exchange. So have a week within one term, say from September to one quarter, let's say. So from September till December, you have 1 week during that time where each member of each portfolio goes to another portfolio, and they experience one of the most engaging experiences of their role. So for CR, as I was in CR, I thought the most engaging experience for me was a networking event. For team members, talent management, I've always wanted to conduct a PDT with not just my team leaders, but just general members and get to know them better, right? OGX, sitting in on review boards would be really cool, and being able to find out where people want to go, where the interest lies, right? That would not only help us realize what other portfolios do and like what are some of the challenges that they're facing, but it will also create unity within the members. You would start engaging not just at the EB level, VPs interacting with other VPs, but it would be member to member, team leader to team leader, and that way you can actually exchange some of the barriers you have, some of the opportunities that you think are out there that you can capitalize on. Collaboration is key.
Thanks, guys. All right, so our next question comes from our BOA, specifically from Joe. The Joe question.
My consultant, Isaac is about exploring and developing leadership. What leader from the past would you say you best align yourself to? And what quality of that leader would you present to Isaac Laurier and the team?
So I'll just repeat the question for people online. So what leader do you identify yourselves to, and what would you try to replicate in your LCP mandate from that leadership? So 1 minute to think about it, and someone you'll be going first.
Could you repeat the question, please?
So the question is about what leader do you identify yourself to, and what from that leader and the leadership style would you replicate as an LCP to drive leadership within your LCP? So we'll start in a minute. Salman?
I think one leader that's always been very prominent in my life is Martin Luther King. He was a person who used his charisma to inspire thousands of people and create a movement that people saw impossible. And I think it was only a result of his unwillingness to give up. He had this idea in his mind, and no matter what it took, he would always think that it's something that needs to exist, whether it's possible or not. if you start putting limitations on yourselves about whether you can achieve it or whether logistics and things of the sort, I think at that point you're already giving up, and those things can't really find a place within fostering leadership. I've got the opportunity to work with a couple of with one startup down at Communitech, and being surrounded by entrepreneurs, I always learn from them that they had that same characteristic. I've seen this occur over and over again. These people are people who just that idea is so close to them. It's become that it's like a tool for them to breathe with. It allows them to express themselves. It allows them to be who they are. It's starting to define them at a certain extent. And I think that quality of being committed and unwillingness to give up is essential.
Okay. I'm chosen someone who is in Isaac, actually, someone I have looked up to for a very long time. That would be our current MCP, Derek Volbraid. I've always been inspired by like how he's led Isaac Canada, just by how he's been very personable and approachable, just someone that anyone can feel comfortable talking to about anything. And that's the kind of leader I want to reflect on, because I want to be seen like as a mentor, someone who can, like, whenever someone is feeling doubtful or just not understanding what's going on, like, I'm here anytime to speak to them. And I think it's important to have that humble side of you, because normally when you take this role as a leader, you tend to separate who you are as an individual and who you are professionally. And I want to bring the two together, because I feel it would be more believable to anyone I would be delivering that leadership to.
Thank you. So our next question comes from your LCP, Carson.
So team selection is one of the most crucial parts of an LCP's responsibilities. What are the qualities or characteristics that you work best with, or that you need to see in other people, and that you would base your selection of a team on? In short, what are the qualities that you require of others when making team selection? What are the key qualities?
For people online, the question is about what qualities would the candidates look for in a team to complement themselves. So 1 minute starts now, and Michael, you'll be going first. Michael?
So there are several qualities I hope to have in a team. Number one, when it comes to Isaac, I would love all the members in the team to have that passion, that love and drive for Isaac, and to be on the team not because they have to, because they feel obligated, because they want to. And the ones who are committed, and also the ones who have a voice and speak up for giving suggestions, being open to suggestions, and most importantly, being respectful how they speak out within the team, respectful to me, with each other, and most importantly, respectful amongst themselves.
think when selecting a team, you need to be able to connect with each other. One of the most detrimental things any leadership team can experience is communication gaps. With the one thing I would really look in my team would be transparency. If you've committed to something that you told the entire team that you would be completing, but with reasonable notice, you can tell me that you can't commit to this anymore, that you've got academic commitments, that you've got to go home for some reason, that you've got other things to take care of, that's fine. Like, at least tell people, because that way you can create a contingency plan. You can create other avenues to get it done, right? Or maybe you can reset expectations, right? But it's important to know that if something can't be set as realistic and you won't be achieving it, then you should know where you're headed, right? And I would also look for individuals who are goal-minded. Goal-mindedness is important because you can't get to where you want to go unless you know where you're going, right? To be able to connect point A and B, you need to know where point B is, right? That's the only way you connect dots, right? Goal-mindedness, I think, is crucial when it comes to selecting a leadership team. And also collaboration. The entire LC is about sharing experiences, sharing leadership, sharing ideas, and sharing those long nights of working for ISEC, right? Or even school stuff. I think it's important that we have a shared vision too. It's not about the LCP thinking about achieving certain goals. It's about a shared vision of the entire team being able to achieve a common goal.
Thanks, guys. So our next question comes from next LCP of ISEC Laurier, Christina. Former.
Yeah. So in ISEC, one of the key things that you'll gain is a very strong self-awareness, right? An awareness of yourself and how you are with people, how you interact with people. So my question is, what do you think will be the biggest personal challenge that you will face as LCP, and how do you plan to overcome that challenge?
So for people online, the question is about what do the candidates think that their biggest challenge will be personally, and how do they plan to overcome it? So Salman, you'll be going first, and your minute starts now. Go ahead if you're ready.
Okay. I think one of the biggest challenges I'll face is to be able to live up to the precedent that's been set for the amount of commitment, the amount of passion that an LCP at ISEC Laurier brings, or any LCP. When I attended my first conference, NLTC, back in May, I had never seen that many people excited about one common idea. And I think being able to be a representative at Laurier who lives, breathes, eats, sleeps, dreams ISEC is one of my biggest challenges. I think ISEC does offer a lot, but beyond ISEC we have other commitments, we have other things that we care about, right? Like family, and then school, and then things after ISEC, right? Personal development goals, right? And I think my biggest challenge would be being able to fully embody what ISEC's values are and what an LCP ought to be, for not just for other members, but for himself as an expectation.
Thank you. Michael.
So for me, personal challenge would be how I am as a person. I'm not ashamed to admit it that I am a more introverted person. You know, I've been like that my whole life, more shy, just socially awkward, and just not, don't seem like the most charismatic. And of course, difference is now is the confidence that I've gained, and I don't want to change like what the little traits of my personality, and all I have to do is just continue enhancing how I present myself, whether it's at a conference, at a meeting, at an event, by just continuing doing the little things such as smiling, being there, participating, going to different events at different levels in different portfolios, and taking more chances, taking risks, and living up to all 6 values. As long as I stay committed to those 6 values and still deliver, then it doesn't matter like what kind of a person I am, because I'm here, I'm committed, and I'm not going anywhere.
All right. Thanks, guys. So we have, what, 31 people online?
We have 32 people online.
32 people watching you through this webcam over here. Really cool. And the next question will come from somebody online.
Yeah. So this is from David and Kaylee, the LCP of Isaac McPhail and the LCP of Isaac Well. Given that Isaac Laurie has been in a strong leadership for the last 2 years, what specifically do you have to bring to the table to benefit Isaac Laurie for the whole 2013 year?
Sorry, repeat.
Okay, yeah. So given that Isaac Laurie has a strong leadership for the last 2 years, what specifically do you have to bring to the table that will benefit Isaac Laurie for the next year?
So Michael, you'll be going first, okay, and your minute starts now. Michael?
So in order for me to be the strongest leader I can possibly be, there are 3 things I need to follow. The first is, if I want to reach our vision, our goals, we first need to know the outcome. That way, before we get started, I can already put myself in that mindset of what I want for our LC. And second, knowing the obstacles, knowing what's going to stand in my way, so I can prioritize with those obstacles and find ways to eliminate them. And third is just by knowing who's done it before, learning from, like in this case for me, it would just be learning from Carson, learning from his strengths and from his mistakes. We've all made mistakes and we've all had successes, and just learning from previous leaders. And also just to continue with what everyone is expecting out of a leader, being selfless, being honest, and keeping everyone inclusive, empowered, and engaged.
All right, thank you. Salman?
What I bring to the table, I think, being a second-year student, I think I bring a lot of energy which hasn't been exhausted yet. I do play a lot of sports, and I do experience these adrenaline rushes, and they tend to last longer than expected. And I think those little gushes, those little differences are like the big impact I think I can really bring. And also the fact that I've been only in ISEC for, I'd say 8 months. 8 months, so I joined back in January. And I think it's really beneficial to be able to think outside the box. When you are a group with the people, you start thinking like them. You start seeing the same through the same window that they have been looking through. But then but if you're a person who's looking as a third party, as like looking inside a box, then you're able to see other things that people inside can't really see, right? So maybe my lack of experience within ISEC can be a detriment, but I see it as a benefit where I can see things or opportunities or obstacles, ways to overcome them, other ways than current longer members of ISEC may be able to do. Also, I don't really shy away from new ideas. There have been opportunities where I've approached the MC with creating new dynamics about the marketing package. I had a proposal about redesigning that, about bringing Y2B to the local level. That was actually a Carson's idea, but I really thought it was empowering, and I thought it could be a reality. So I have that tendency of never shying away from ideas, and I really think that that's something an LCP should have.
All right, thank you. All right, so that was the initial list of questions that we had. Are there any other questions? I'll just take a list of another 5 main. So, Carmen?
Do a round of applause for Carmen.
Anybody else? Yes?
Mallory.
Mallory? So I'll get to right after Carmen, and Carson you'll go third. And then we have other questions online?
Not at the moment.
Okay, so we'll save a spot if there are any other questions, and we'll just go forth, and then we'll see where we're at with time afterwards, and then we might take a few more, and then we'll wrap it up. All right? So Carmen, go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, as LCP, obviously we need really busy as Carson was, and there are physical constraints of time, right? We're all students, so we all have the schoolwork and your family life. And I wanted to hear how you guys feel that you can manage your time and what makes you eligible that you can actually have the commitment of things.
So for people online, how do the candidates plan to manage their time as an LCP given the really busy schedule, and how do they plan to address it? So the 1 minute starts now. And it is Salman who will answer first.
a very good question, Carmen. It was also like the biggest issue I had before actually submitting my application for LCP. I currently hold another vice president position at another club, and I do think that time commitment, it does become a very big issue. And you're not just physically constrained, but like your mental capacity does not reach that point, right? And I think the way to tackle that is to show transparency. At this very point, you need to make clear expectations and be clear with not just other VPs, but like the members. What kind of commitments is the LCP showing to ISEC as well as other committees or clubs, whatever it's part of. I think that's really important. And also, as an LCP, I think it's been already stressed that he is not there to do all the tasks himself. He possibly can't. It's about activating leadership. I think the most prominent value for ISEC that comes for an LCP position is to be able to activate leadership. So to be able to enable others to do exactly what an LCP would do, right? Like if an LCP has done his job perfectly, he should have every single person being able to proxy for him when he's gone. At that point, he's successfully activated leadership within every single member of his committee, and he's not just doing it himself, he's delegating.
Thank you. Michael?
So, time management, it amazes me how I managed to balance that. Like, for example, this semester had a full course load, still VP for OGX, also doing NST still for Puerto Rico, and working part-time has been a challenge. However, this is something I have been practicing for since starting ISIC, and it's just about prioritizing and planning ahead and keeping your schedule not just in the mind but having a visual one, so you know what time can I work on this, what time can I work on that, and again, using calendar is definitely a key. And I do agree with what Salman said about activating leadership. You should never take on too many tasks. That is what the team is for. And the role of the LCP is just to be there as a support system, to provide resources and contacts to help the members grow. For if I am LCP, I would have had just one semester left before graduating, but if I am LCP, that semester will be split between winter and fall, so that I have a lot more time to devote to the LC. And also, my NST role is completed at the end of the year, so that's one less commitment for me. And this way, I have a lot more focus, and I can plan out what I want to see for the LC, what I want to see in all our members, and what I hope for, and how I can provide each member, each team with an opportunity to demonstrate that leadership.
Thanks, guys. Next question.
Okay, so both of you discussed the fact that you've each had growing experiences, personal development, life-changing experiences. Can you talk about what one of your most important growing or changing experiences has been in your development, and how that's going to lend to your success as an LCP?
So you want one specific experience?
Yeah, an example of an experience where you grew or changed or realized something.
All right, so Michael, you'll be answering the question first, and the minutes start to now. And by the way, just guys, if you're ready to answer, you can just go ahead. We don't need to wait the full minute if you're ready to go ahead.
Sorry, is it possible to just repeat that question for live stream?
Yes, okay, so the question was about life, changing experience, really impactful experience, and how it has impacted.
Okay, so, So I will pick my experience abroad through ISIC when I went to Italy. So I was working at a summer camp at a resort in Naples. It was me and 9 other interns. And there were some quality issues. It seemed that there had been some miscommunication between the TN takers and the TN manager. And eventually it got resolved. We met halfway, but things were still shaky. And of me and all the other interns, I was the one who was the only experienced ISICer, and I was older than the rest of them, so it seemed like I should have been the leader, the one stepping up for everything when things go wrong. But instead, I decided to take what I learned from Isaac Laurier and allowed the interns to take initiative and allowed them to raise their voice, voicing their opinion whenever there's a problem, allowing them to take challenges within the initiative, try getting them to make the most out of it. And and I felt that that was something that I had learned as a VP. Seeing that being demonstrated, that was a very good feeling. And in the end, all the interns, they turned all their negative views on the exchange and everything came out positive for them. they, want to get involved in ISIC. We still keep in touch, and I feel like if I had stood in the way in all of that, that outcome would not have been the same.
Thank you. Tom?
For me, I would say when I was applying for universities, my first choice was attending Richard Ivey School of Business at University of Western Ontario, for those Isaac Western people watching. That was my ideal choice, but I didn't get into that program, and that really shook me. It was the point that I thought about not going to university at all. Like, that's how committed I was towards going towards that program. But eventually I made that choice of coming to Laurier, which I'm very, very thankful for. Being caught in like the Waterloo environment, it's incredible. But yeah, that experience and learning that like if things just don't go your way and you're forced to make choices that you don't really want to make, maybe it is in your best interest. Maybe it is meant to be this way. You need to learn to I learned to let go of things and being able to realize that they will fall into place they should be in, and it will be in your best interest. So I'm like, if you know the personality, because I happen to be a very bred person, and that kind of person is very controlling and wants to grasp like every single portion of it. Like he needs to know that everything will direct him towards success, right? And he can't leave any margins out of any sort. But at that point, I learned how to let go of things and be like, okay, it'll be all right. Like let it be, right? I think that was a very that was a growing moment for me. Another moment I'd like to share was that, actually when I brought it up earlier, when Carson shared with me the idea of bringing Y2V at the local level, and the MC actually taking me seriously when I was only a team member, I thought that was incredible for me. Like at that point, like I realized that I could have an impact, even as a team member. I could do things, right? And from that point on, I actually started like trying to implement my ideas, and I think that's another moment that helped me realize that it's only people who achieve things are because they believe that they can achieve them. It's about the attitude that you bring towards things.
Thank you. So our next question comes again from Carson.
Okay. So as a LCP, you'll be responsible for representing Isaac nationally and internationally, whether that be through yourself or through the local committee that you lead. What are your plans for Isaac's global impact at a national and international level, given that this year's conferences are in Edmonton and Calgary, both the same price ticket as you might go to an international conference? So how would you expand the reach of Isaac Laurier nationally and internationally through yourself and our committee, given that our conferences are $1,000 away this year?
All right, so for people online, the question is, conferences are far away, they're going to be costly. Carson's question is about how are you going to be able to represent Isaac Laurier nationally and internationally, given the constraints that you'll have. How do you plan to address that? So Salman, you'll be going first, and your minute starts.
I definitely agree that it's a very big obstacle for an LC, because these conferences, especially the national conferences, are like one of the most amazing experiences. One of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had. Like NLDC was like my point of pushing myself and actually committing to ISEC. So as an LCP, you would consider that opportunity important for every single member to be attending, right? So at that point, I think we would have to learn more about our environment and learn how we can benefit from those opportunities. Just recently, being part of corporate relations, I've discovered that there are lots and lots of fundings and sponsorships that people are willing to give out from the Laurier alumni, from faculties that we can capitalize on, and we just need to find those opportunities, and that will help. But I'm not saying that will get every team member to the national conferences. At that point, another interesting concept that we've been practicing for the past year is the encores, bring out conferences. I wouldn't say they've been really good, but I wouldn't say they've been as successful. Partly because of the geographic region. Most of the national conferences that happened last year were in Toronto or close by area, so the incentive for people to attend those conferences was a lot lower. But now that the concentration of most LCs is within the local provinces, like Ontario, Quebec are like big provinces where there are a lot of LCs located, it will be a popular choice for people to actually come out and attend. And I think as an LCP, I would put in a lot more effort to prepare, and it would also be looked upon as an ROI project.
Thank you. Michael?
So, yes, the biggest constraint is finances, of course. And yeah, it's a matter of just trying every dimension possible to reach out to the community and find sponsorships. And you can try big or small. And also keep in mind, there are other clubs at Laurier, especially business clubs, who also have finance portfolios and corporate relations and communications. We can definitely associate with them more and learn about their best case practices, and then they can learn about ours, and just sharing that information, we can put that into practice. The unfortunate reality is, as much as I would love to see everyone go to Alberta for the conferences, it's most likely not going to happen. But for those who do attend, I would like those delegates to represent the members in their team. So before they take off to the conference, those delegates need to ask their members or their teammates, what do you want from me? What do you want to learn from this conference that you want me to bring back to you? Are there any contacts? That way, they may not be present physically, but afterwards, they'll still be provided with all the information. And aside from, of course, the Bring Back conferences which have been successful, we can also host other summits. Like this summer, Isaac Canada did the National Sales Summit. We could take that to a local level. That happened last year at York University. It was a sales training. We could open that to LCs in Ontario and live stream it as well, so that people from the West can view it. And also and just to throw it out there, because I am an advocate for Isaac US, if you cannot attend NC in Canada, there are US conferences in Indiana, which is closer.
All right. Thanks, guys. So we have another question online.
Once again, from the two presidents from McGill and from Guelph, inspire us without words.
Of course, that question.
So, Michael, you'll be going first. You have, if you need a minute to prepare.
How long is this supposed to, same length as?
So you still have 2 minutes to answer. Okay. If you're in the midst of flipping around, I won't stop you, but try to keep it to 2 minutes as much as possible. So, Michael, you'll be going first when you're ready.
Think right. Still in a minute.
Yeah.
Good question, guys.
I'm ready.
All right. All right. Thank you, Michael. Comment?
Let's go.
Thank you guys. It's probably the toughest question you'll get. Okay, so we've gone through our second list of questions. Are there any other questions here in the room? Carson, you have another one? Is there anybody else who'd like to ask a question? This will be the last round that we'll have, and we have a few other online. Are we good? Okay, so we'll go with Carson, and then we'll have the. Do you have a question? What's your name?
Jose.
Jose? All right, so we'll go with Jose first. Carson, and then we'll finish off with the questions online. Is that okay? So go ahead.
ISEC is a finite experience. Like it has a beginning and an end. It's a very short experience, actually. You know, like sometimes even when you take years doing it, it's a very short experience in your lifespan. How does being an LCP and being in ISEC falls in the whole picture of your plan? Like, how can you tell? Like ISEC is playing this role as a piece in a much bigger plan that I have. Like how is ISEC playing that role, and how being an LCP helps you in that role of your life?
All right, so Sami will be going first. The question for people online is about what's your long-term plan, and how does ISEC fit into that plan? Yeah.
Long-term personal plan.
So yeah, where are you headed, and how does ISEC fit in? Cool. So 1 minute, and then we'll switch. All right,
ever since I was 11 years old, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. I know the new show Suits, Harvey Specter has everybody wanting to be a lawyer, but I did it before him. So that's a very good question. I've been in search for the answer for that question myself. Before submitting my application as an LCP, I talked to anybody and everybody that I could as to how being an LCP fit into their life. And finally, I was introduced by Carson to the past MCP of Oman, and we're actually meeting next week to discuss how since he is a lawyer, practicing lawyer, and now I have the opportunity to learn from him how that fit into his life and how I can make the LCP position fit into my life. Also, I have another goal in life. I'm from Pakistan, and my country struggles to recognize the importance of education, the importance of honesty and lack of corruption and just sincerity to another citizen. And great programs in ISEC like EduAction and GCDPs, just those great programs, I think facilitated my growth and being able to explore new ideas and realizing the impact that not just a person as an LCP has, but the entire global network has on the world. There is ISEC in Pakistan, by the way.
Thank you. Mike?
So, as I mentioned already, I am in global studies, and after my time in ISEC is over, I would like to pursue grad school. My long-term goal from that, because I still want to work in the field of international and social development. To be more specifically, I would like to represent in the UN and to serve and represent Canada and to respond to particular issues that do have an effect at places around the world, and like that personally I've taken accustomed to. And that's all what AIESEC is all about, creating that positive social impact in the world. And even whether you do it on a local level, national or international, you can still play your part. And in AIESEC, we're always working with the most diverse group of people, and you can get educated about anything from each person you learn. And I want to capitalize on that through more international exposure. I would like to represent AIESEC Laurier and AIESEC Canada at international conferences next year, so I can meet people face to face from other AIESEC countries and how they deal with the issues, the social issues going on in their countries, and how AIESEC has played a part in that, and how I can contribute to that. And of course, this is something I want to pass on to everyone. So on the exchange side, definitely would love for my team to, both OGX and COM, to find those projects, the specific GCDB projects that we can go to, so they can develop that sense as well, and to give hope.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so since we don't have any presidents or other representatives from the SBSS, the School of Business and Economics Student Society, in the House, I'd like to ask a question on behalf of the SBSS. As an economics student and a global studies student underneath the faculty clubs of the School of Business and Economics, how can AIESEC Laurier increase its impact within Laurier and the SBSS?
All right, so the question is on behalf of the SBSS, which is the School of Business here at Laurier, and so how do they plan to have an impact for the Laurier community, but also for SBSS as residents and as an LC? So Michael, you'll be answering first, and you have 1 minute.
So the kind of impact we can make on both Laurier and SBSS is to demonstrate how AIESEC Laurier offers students, both business and non-business students, the opportunity to develop skills in the business field, skills that, yeah, you hear it in the classroom, but you never have the chance to practice it. And like, it's hard for me to say because I am not a business student, but I have learned so much from sales and marketing, how finance works, HR, because of talent management. And like, for example, we do SWOT analysis. That was the first time I had heard of that, and I'm not a business student, and it's great to know that I can pick up on this kind of business lingo. And just, yeah, and it could show that, like, whether you are a business or non-business student, these are skills that are transferable. And once you are graduating, or if you want to get into co-op, getting involved with AIESEC, whether it's directly or indirectly, like if you want to partner with them, or you still you still get that opportunity to build on those skills, and of course, it would definitely increase chances of find that type of employment that a student is looking for. And as I mentioned in the previous question, because a lot of the business clubs do have similar portfolios to us, it's just a matter of collaboration. And we have to remember, we can't always think of what is in it for us. Like, oh, let's work with them, we can send them on exchange. And as great as that would be, also think about, you know, we are delivering them our experiences and we can receive that from them as well.
Thank you.
I think as a club under SBSS, we're often labeled as a business club, but as an LC, we do a very good job of maintaining that value of diversity. And here we have like just the two of us sitting here. He's global studies and I'm economics. That in itself is major diversity, right? And we always have maintained that within an LC, and I think that's something that we bring to the table for all, which most other SPS clubs don't offer much of because they're more business focused, whereas we're experience focused. So from SICTA to SBSS to FOSSA, we try to have everybody collaborate on the same goals, because it's very, just as I mentioned before, it's very difficult to come up with new ideas when you're looking through the same window at all times. I read the biography of Steve Jobs, and he always emphasized the fact that you need to learn how to get new perspectives. And what he used to do at Stanford University is that he used to attend classes that he wasn't even part of. He would just go there, he looked into calligraphy in great detail, in other courses, just because he could learn new ideas and different ways to approach the same concepts. And that way, you generate new ideas. And I think ISEC lives up to that as well. Also, ISEC provides a value, like right now we're working with the Career Development Center, and I think the possibility for Laurier to go international is a very big one. The new dean of SBE has that focus of globalizing Laurier, and Laurier International has sent people to create awareness of Laurier University around the world. And I think ISEC plays a huge role in that, because I think the alignment of cooperative education, that's co-op, as well as international placement can be in sync, and that would help business students as well as any other student benefit a lot more.
Right. Thank you. We have a question online?
Yes, we do. From Robert Seekin, our former
hey Rob.
Our former VP of Talent Management. At which point, or at which moment did you realize that taking on an LCP role was the next step in ISEC for you?
Salman, you'll be going first.
To be honest, my realization came very late. After I had completed my term for a summer marketer in the end of July, I went for a vacation, some time for me to reflect and be able to reprioritize my life, and also spend some time with family. So I traveled back to London for a little while, then I was in Saudi Arabia for quite a while, where my parents sometimes are. So when I got back, I was very quickly asked to step up for a lot of different positions, and at that point I was really on the fence of like how committed I really am, and with the influence of the people around me and the amount of committed levels that I saw with people who were newly being recruited. The recruitment process was a big contributor to my decision. The passion that I saw from the new members that joined, it helped me realize that, or re-realize the importance of AIESEC in my life. And I guess the weekend that LCP applications were due, I think the applications were due Monday night. I think Saturday morning was when I realized. And at that point, the thing that justified it most was that all VPs should be at the point where they can commit as much as an LCP does. That's when you really get a strong team.
Thank you. Mike?
So, the situation's a little different for me because I wanted LCP last year and I went for it and did not get elected. So I chose to take on VPOGX, and I figured, and because it was the beginning of the year, the thought didn't cross my mind because I already had a huge commitment to focus on. And so midway of 2012, I had to think of the future of where AIESEC will stand in AIESEC and where AIESEC Glory is going to stand in a year. And it worried me a bit because 2 years ago, AIESEC Laurier, that is, barely existed. And since I joined, the people I've worked with in AIESEC, we've fought extremely hard to gain recognition, to gain results, and to make something positive out of this. And I felt like there's something missing. I mean, yes, I've got the leadership experience, I've seen the improvements, and what's next? And because I've seen it, how we built up from the ground up, I can see clearly what our next steps are. And within the summer, there were some conversations I had with people who have been LCPs and moved on to MC and AI, and they still acknowledge LCP as their most memorable experience because it caters to leading a team directly as opposed to as a national or international level where you have to look after people as a whole group of committees. And finally,
all right, thank you. We have one last question online.
Yes, we do. So this is from Marianne from HSA. Okay, so question here is, how would you make the most of your resources that you have? So that's MC, alumni, and other LCs in order to create new best case practices.
So Mike, you'll be going first. Yeah.
That was for MC and AR.
Yeah, so it's just how would you make the most of your resources? So the example here being MC, alumni, other LCs, in order to create new BCPs.
Okay.
Good. So minutes are set.
I forget who's going first.
That's Mike.
Okay, so first we would start with LCs in our region in Ontario. So whether it's through regional conferences or from visiting the cities nearby, we can collect knowledge from them and sharing it too through mini conferences or so mini conferences and learning about how the procedure works. For example, I've learned about how Ottawa's exchange processes worked, and we've seen their marketing materials, such as the brochure that that COM has decided to take on. And with Guelph, they're our next door neighbors. They've been our resource for CR advice. Kaylee came here a couple times to help coach the CR team. And also, I want us to collaborate more with LCs that do have similar realities to us, so for extra motivation. Across Canada, of course, engage in conferences, but if not, you could share BCPs virtually and offer advice, because we all have connections with Isaac Canada, whether you're physically present at, like in Vancouver, for example. And then on the MC level, for us, we are fortunate that they are an hour and a bit away from us. So take every advantage of reaching out to them. Each portfolio should reach out to their respective MC VP coach. And I would love for like one day, like we can take any members up to Toronto and just have a meet the MC day, because I feel like that relationship with the MC has only been limited to the EB, and just to let them know who they are, how they work, and they're just like us. They've been in our positions and they're available, and that's the same with alumni. And like most importantly with alumni, and that goes for MC, Isaac Canada, and our region, is to keep that communication consistent, constantly following up. And yeah, it's just continuing reaching out. Thank you.
I think as an LCP, it falls under the duties that that person create channels for them to be able to access those resources. So in terms of alumni, our LC hasn't focused a lot on creating alumni relations. Like most LCs who have an entire portfolio dedicated towards AR, we don't. But I think there is definitely room for growth there. And once you can create that connection, and even for the board of advisors, people think the board of advisors are these people who are like up top and like you can't really talk to them unless you have a real reason to talk to them. But like honestly, like they're one of the nicest people around, and like they'll always help you out. Like you guys are great. You guys are awesome. Just making that environment just more comfortable for them. It's not about just the VPs being able to talk to these people, because once they're VPs, they obviously know that MC is always available, and you'll need their help. Like you'll need MC's help, you'll need your BOA's help. But if at the team member level, if the LCP can create connections, so have them come out to the quarterlies, they don't have to be actively participating in them, but just be engaged and find out what's the LC really dealing with. That will help create connections. And yeah, so I think just creating those channels of being able to access resources is key. And I love the idea about meet the MC then.
Awesome. All right, so that wraps it up for our Q&A. Congrats, guys. So you guys are done. There's nothing else that you can do in order to influence the vote. So I'll get the Vivian to escort you back to your couches where you can take a nap or just wait. So we'll proceed with the voting, and then we'll bring you guys back in for the official announcement ceremony. Yeah, okay, so yes, so just go over there. Are we shutting down the online stream for this, or?
Yeah. We'll
okay.
do it for sure.
So yeah, just so that we don't kind of spread the news before they know. All right, thanks guys. See you later.
See ya.
Yes. You guys want to do a dance or move a little bit? Let's do this. All right. Your phone must be.
There were some other really good questions. They wanted to ask.
Sorry, at some point you should know it.
Isaac or Nathan was
Yeah, but that's.
It was a fun question, you know, to just wrap it up. No, it's not yet.
El Goloso.
Yeah.
That one is hard. That's from Gas. That's for my.
We got it.
Mine is from where I go from. But that one's hard. I don't know what it is. Just put the second one. Carson.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna need everybody to stand up. I see some Catherine Tong eyes closing and things. So let's get up right here. I want to teach you guys a really cool dance. So let's.
Are you sure it's cool?
Are
you cool enough to
Look at even Victoria Lamb's super excited for this one. We can't smoke on Victoria Lamb. So there we go. All right. So everybody come up front.
You gotta be a little lower. They don't see your face.
Oh, I was just waving. Hello guys. Let's show you a couple moves. You're gonna need to get.
Hello everyone.
mobility. Okay. Just a very simple move.
Why is it still on?
Everybody shake
It's always
that
like
shoulder a little bit. Yeah, shake that shoulder a little bit. Okay. And now get that hand up. And hand up. Now try going hand up and down. Hips here, all right? So as you go up, a little bit down.
Oh, Kendra!
So we can set this. Yeah, yeah. So on with the voting. And the voting list. And the proxy. All right, so do you want to just explain?